As the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, new Mavericks president, Masai Ujiri, is making a coaching change. Jason Kidd was the Mavericks coach for the last 5 seasons. He helped them get to the finals in 2024, but they are coming off one of their worst seasons in the franchise's history, going 26-56 this season. Time now to welcome in CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez and Noah Bono. And Noah, I'll start with you. What is your reaction to Jason Kidd being out as Dallas's head coach after 5 seasons?
I'm unbelievably stunned. I don't know why in my brain I didn't think when Masai Ujiri was landed the job in the front office that maybe he would look to go in a different direction, especially after all the Luka Doncic drama. You got rid of Nico Harrison in the middle of the season or early this season. Why didn't I assume maybe he would look to go in a different direction? Because I think Jason Kidd is a really good coach, and I think he's proven that. He's been to 2 Western Conference Finals, 1 NBA Finals appearance. That's under the old regime with Luka Doncic running the helm. But I just read a tweet that Patrick Dumont, the team governor, authorized the trade. Patrick Dumont doesn't know right from left when it comes to basketball, so he shouldn't have any say in anything that happens because he didn't even understand the impact and the meaning to the Dallas Mavericks fan base when Luka Doncic was traded. So red flag number 1 to continue to let him have any say in what's going on. I understand Masai Ujiri's, perspective though here. And when you look at some of the guys that have been a part of the Dallas Mavericks and Coach Kidd's staff, like Jared Dudley was under that staff with Jason Kidd for a number of years. Frank Vogel, the old Lakers head coach, won the title in 2020. He was the associate head coach this past year. I don't know if they'll look to hire internally in that regard, but when we got the news, I really never saw this coming, especially with the relationship that Jason Kidd proved to build with the young superstar in Cooper Flagg. It got bumpy early in the year, having him play point guard, and Jason Kidd had some of those crazy comments in the press, in the post-game pressers, addressing this is, the best way for a young guy like this to develop. I just thought the chemistry and the cohesion between those two was something that was going to continue to grow and to build, and that has all been burnt to the ground with him being fired. So this is really, really fascinating news to see him gone and who's going to take the helm.
Staggering. I'm shocked by this, and we'll start with the basketball component of it, and Noah just touched on it. At the beginning of the year, obviously it wasn't a good year for the Mavericks. They're back in the lottery. We'll see whether or not they can pair somebody with Cooper Flagg, but at the beginning of the year, Jason Kidd basically gave Cooper Flagg the keys, and part of it was out of necessity and by default because you didn't have Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis was injured for much of the year, and they just basically, and they didn't have any other guard help, and they just said, okay, you're going to be pulling Cooper Flagg at 18, 19 years old, and good luck, and you're going to grow as you figure it out. And I thought that was a terrible idea. And it turned out that Jason Kidd was right about this. It actually did accelerate Cooper Flagg's growth. He ends up winning Rookie of the Year. He looked phenomenal by the end of the year. I thought it was a bad idea. Turned out to be a good idea. So just from a basketball perspective, I thought what he did with Cooper Flagg was pretty good. And now he's on the outs. But from a business perspective, that's what's really stunning here. He had 4 years and $40 million left on his deal. Forget about what Patrick Dumont does or does not know about basketball. And the answer is he doesn't know much about basketball. I'm pretty sure he knows that 4 years and $40 million is a lot of money. And let's just go back to last year, right? When the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks were looking at Jason Kidd. The Knicks were trying to get Jason Kidd to leave Dallas and go to New York. And the Mavericks said, no, he's our guy. We want to keep him around. And then they bring in Masai Ujiri, who, credit to Masai Ujiri, he's a super smart dude, won a championship in 2019 with the Toronto Raptors. Good for him. He has the right, I guess, obviously as the new president of basketball operations in Dallas to pick his guy and to decide who's going to be the head coach of the team that he's now the general manager for. But I'm really surprised that Patrick Dumont and the Mavericks decided, hey, Jason Kidd's got to go right away. This is shocking.
Yeah, Masai, when he was asked about whether Jason Kidd would be back for a 6th season, he told The Athletic, look, he's done a great job, but we're going to look at this thing from head to toe. That's the right way to look at an organization and evaluate in every single way we can. So he wasn't exactly, high on Jason Kidd when you think about it. He could have just said, yeah, he'll be back for sure. But moving forward, I know, Noah, you touched on it, right? Just looking ahead for potential head coaching candidates. John, who would you think would be a great match for Cooper Flagg in this Mavericks team as they try to get back to relevancy in terms of getting to the postseason and making a deep run?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because now all of a sudden you've got a coaching vacancy as this thing moves forward and you're heading into the draft and you're trying to find somebody to pair with Cooper Flagg. And I would have thought that, somebody like Jason Kidd would have been a good fit for Cooper Flagg and turned out to be a good fit for Cooper Flagg. So now Masai Ujiri's got to put his imprint on this. Maybe he goes and gets an assistant from somewhere. Maybe he goes and gets another head coach, if Tiago Splitter leaves or somebody like that. I honestly, off the top of my head, I'm so floored by this that I'm not sure which direction he goes. I would guess, because again, Masai Ujiri is a really smart guy, and they've empowered him to put together this project in Dallas and lead this team moving forward, that he already has somebody in mind. So we'll see who that is. But he better land on somebody really good, right? Because you can't just willy-nilly decide to fire Jason Kidd and then go, I'm not really sure about this. My guess is he has somebody already identified.
This is just so stunning to me because it's not like the Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams situation where you knew you had to get rid of him and go get him an offensive coach. Like this isn't the situation with Cooper Flagg and Jason Kidd. Like Jason Kidd, to me, has established himself as a very, very good NBA coach. Yes, he was bumpy in Brooklyn and in Milwaukee with a young Giannis Antetokounmpo, but I think that's why the surprise here is just so much more elevated. And I think when you're talking about where do you go and look next? John's right. You better land this. You better hit an absolute grand slam to fire Jason Kidd. Listen, he's not Pat Riley. He's not Eric Spoelstra, but he's much better and more in the top half of NBA coaches than in the bottom half. And I mentioned before Frank Vogel being on Kidd's staff this year. Jared Dudley, he's been climbing the coaching ranks since retiring. I don't think those are Masai Ujiri's guys necessarily. I think when you go back to some of the guys that were under Nick Nurse on that Toronto 2019 title run team, does he look at some of those guys? Adrian Griffin was on the staff there. He was with Milwaukee and was fired in the middle of the year. I don't see Masai Ujiri going that direction, but I really, just off impulse, I'm not 100% sure what the direction is, but John's right. He must have someone in his back pocket that he wants for the job to go out and make a decision like this.
And Mavericks fans are hoping that whoever he gets will lead them to another title because, as you guys mentioned, a very stunning move with Jason Kidd being out as the Dallas Mavericks head coach after 5 seasons. John Gonzalez, Noah Bono, always appreciate the insight. So, Dallas, they did all right under Jason Kidd, okay? They made it to the NBA Finals in 2024. They missed the playoffs, though, 3 times, so that's not something you want to see if you're a Mavericks fan or somebody in the Mavericks front office. Coming up on CBS Sports HQ, we're heading inside Madison Square Garden. Finals tipping off from Madison Square Garden. Cavaliers and Knicks looking to make history for their franchises if they can make it to the NBA Finals. And for more on the matchup, here's CBS Cleveland's Leah Doherty.
Hello from inside of Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. We are gearing up for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the New York Knicks and Cleveland Cavaliers. When you look at New York, they haven't played a game since May 10th, so they are well rested. That's going to work in their favor when it comes to OG Anunoby. He is probable for this evening. He missed 2 games in the last series against Philadelphia with a hamstring injury, but for Cleveland, they have been on this grind of a schedule playing every other day. They blew out Detroit in Game 7 on the road where they led by as much as 35. It's a homecoming for Donovan Mitchell returning back to New York, but he said that's not something he can worry about. This is his first time advancing to the conference finals. He's going to be key for this series, getting guys like him, James Harden. We saw a big game out of Sam Merrill. Something about Jared Allen in Game 7s. He's been great as well. The Cavs tend to struggle when they fall behind early on, so a big key for them is going to be starting off hot in a very tough road environment. At Madison Square Garden, Leah Doherty.
All right, thank you so much, Leah. And every team won when they were on their home floor in this series. New York, the first 2, right in October and December, and then February, Cleveland won by 15 when they had James Harden. So we'll see if that trend continues here in the postseason. Up next, after delivering one of the best games in NBA postseason history, what do the Thunder and Spurs have in store for an encore? Our analysts break it all down in just a bit.